This is the 17th season of Bass Talk Live with your hosts, Mark Jeffries and Matt Pingrack. BTL is brought to you by Lawrence, Bass Cat Boats, APCO, Duck and Fishing, Strike King Lures, Sunline, Big Bite Baits, Spro, X-Zone Lures, Yamagatsu, The Bass Tank, and Denali Rods. BTL coming at you. Good Wednesday, everybody. Welcome once again to another edition of BTL Bass Talk Live, where Ken and I are going to talk bass fishing and anything else that we want to talk about. Ken, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, Mark, and always a pleasure to be on Bass Talk Live. No better way to start the morning for me. And, when you say we're going to talk about anything else we want, I know today we're going to get into some of your absolute favorite things, not just bass fishing, but also bowling. So this is right up your alley, no pun intended. And I'm just going to hang on and try to keep up.
Well, we're gonna get the scoop from the man, Mike McClelland, on how he injured himself in an activity that is very special to my life. That would be bowling.
I'm a huge Mike McClelland fan, have been forever. Mike is one of the most accomplished anglers out there. He's got some records that may never be broken, but he may have finally settled an age-old question about the sport of competitive bass fishing, and I'll get into that when Mike comes on. Yeah, so Mike McClelland on. We're going to have him on around 9:15 Central Time, and our first guest is going to be Bobby Lane here in about 15 minutes. The dude is having a great season so far on the BPT, leading the Angler of the Year race, and we'll dive into Bobby's success so far here in 2021 and get his thoughts on the remainder of the season. Bobby's practically a neighbor of mine here in Central Florida. I think he lives about 40, he's about 40 minutes away from me in Lakeland, and I've had the pleasure of being in the boat with Bobby many times. Just a great guy, a great angler. He is what you see on TV, this exuberant guy who also happens to be one of the most skilled fishermen on the planet. Yeah, really cool dude. Love having him on the show. All right, man. Several things to discuss before we have Bobby on. The first thing that I want to do, I want to give a shout-out, a BTL shout-out, to a couple of BTL fans, Casey Ferguson and Jakari Thomas from Dan River High School in Ringgold, Virginia, who weighed in over 36 pounds for the year to win the Virginia BASS High School State Championship. So nice job there, boys there in Virginia, and hopefully they're able to get gas with this whole pipeline situation that's going on. So great job, Casey and Jakari. Congratulations, and hopefully the success that you had will continue. So nice job, boys. All right, next up, I got an email from Steven in New Jersey, and I didn't know about this, and you may know about it, but I did not because I'm not really into the whole country scene. But did you know that Luke Bryan, I guess his latest album, there's a track on there that is dedicated to Bill Dance? I did not know that. The song is called Bill Dance, and I'd play it, but I can't do it because it would be a copyright violation, and it would get flagged with YouTube and all that and everything, so I can't do it. So I want to make sure that everybody check it out. All you have to do is go to YouTube, in the search, do Luke Bryan /Bill Dance, and you can check it out. It'll link up through the search, and a pretty cool song too. Very, very well written, and I liked it. It was good. It wasn't cheesy at all. It was really, really good. And I'm not a big country fan. I like a lot of the old country stuff. Yeah, that's me. Yeah, Johnny Cash, Johnny Paycheck, a lot of those dudes. But it was really, really cool
what Luke Bryan did to pay dedication toward Bill Dance. Very, very cool song.
That is awesome. No, not only is Bill Dance one of the great people of our sport, but he is the most recognizable and most beloved angler in the world, and it's not close. It's just not close. And interesting that there's a song. I'm with you, man. I like the old country stuff. Give me Hank Williams, Patsy Cline, Johnny Cash. I'm not really into the contemporary thing, but I have quite a bit of country music in my collection, but I bought an album just recently. It was released just last week by a guy who died a couple of years ago named Tony Joe White. I think he might have been from Mississippi or Louisiana, but he was a country writer and singer and performer. And he has a song on that album, which is the reason I bought it, called Bubba Jones. And it's about this dude who hooks and loses a world record largemouth. And so since it was about the world record largemouth, Mark, I had to have it. And it's amazing that every once in a while how music will pop up and hit the world of fishing. Doesn't happen often, but once in a while.
All right. I don't know if I can do this, but there's an email on the printer that I forgot to grab. I don't know if I can grab it or not. Let's see if I can do this without knocking stuff down.
Let's not recreate the post-game celebration scene.
No.
This is dangerous. Hey, Mike McClelland has been hurt doing less, okay?
He crossed the line, though. Can't cross the line. We'll get into that later. All right. The third thing, an email, and I received several emails just like this. It's from Matthew Johnson, and let's see here. And his comment was, you know what? That's the wrong freaking one. I want to get into what Matthew said here in a minute, but that is not the email. Where'd the other one go? Good grief. I don't know what happened. Anyway, there was a fan.
Do you need somebody to come in and rearrange your studio? You need a feng shui expert?
No. Everything is cool. I messed that one up. All right. There was a fan along with several other fans that sent me emails, and they wanted to get Gerald Swindle on the show to discuss the buzzbait tactic that he used on Neely Henry. Well, the challenge really was two things. One, the Guntersville event is next week, and practice starts on Monday. So I couldn't really push for another show, and I couldn't do a show on Friday because I've got some stuff lined up because school is out now, and I have some obligations that I have to take care of on Friday. So I couldn't have a fish show this week. So what we're going to do is tonight, folks, a very, very special night show that is going to begin at 7 p.m. Central Time. We're going to have Gerald Swindle on live here on BTL on a very special night show. And then at 8 o'clock, following Gerald, we're going to have the latest winner of the Elite Series. We're going to have Wes Logan on. So a jam-packed double dip. 4 guests in one day right here on BTL, and there's nothing on the Bassno website because I didn't get this firmed up until late last night, and I can't thank Gerald and Wes enough for taking time out to do this special nighttime show because honestly, Ken, it's for the fans. It's not for me. Oh. It's for the fans.
When are you going to go full 24/7? That's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for 24/7 BTL.
Well, you need to look up what is the longest continuous podcast ever.
Ooh, good question.
I mean, could we do a marathon? Could we do 48 hours straight? The question there is who the heck is going to listen at 3 o'clock in the morning to two guys talking about bass fishing?
Well, I think if you get the right two guys talking about bass fishing, you'll find an audience even at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the morning, because you got that big spread of time zones here. We got quite a range here, so you're going to find an audience. I think it would be cool if you did a marathon. I don't recommend that you do it Jerry Lewis style, where Mark Jeffries has to be at the mic for the entire period. But,
no, some people out there don't even know who Jerry Lewis is, Ken.
And they're better off for it, perhaps. But you know what I mean. You know what I mean, because we're basically exact same age, but I think that would be cool. And if you're up to it, I'd probably watch as much of it as I could stand.
I don't know if I could do that, but maybe when Matt gets back. If Matt was here, we could go a long time.
Oh, yes,
because we could really get into some stuff that would be back and forth. So we will check in with that.
I say your voice gives out after about 6 hours.
You think so?
I do.
I don't know. A lot of green tea.
And that's smart. But
yeah,
I thought I talked a lot, and I do. And my wife tells me this quite often.
Yeah.
But I did back in the mid 2000s. We had a tournament announcer go down. He was sick, so he couldn't make a tournament at Santee Cooper, and I had to fill in as the onstage announcer. And standing there with a microphone for 3 hours while 400 guys weigh in. At the end of day one, man, I was thinking, how am I going to make it? So it's a little bit different when you're sitting in the studio and you're a little more relaxed and you have access to your green tea and stuff, but it'll wear you down.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would love to see it.
I don't know. We'll go on down the road on that one and see what develops. Anyway, a great day here on BTL. I think it's the first time that we've had 4 guests on in one day and done really 2 shows. Morning show and then an evening show. Might be something to look forward to now that school's out. Yesterday, finalized all my grades, turned them in, clicked the button, record grade, did my inventory. I'm done, Ken. Done for the summer. Now we have summer camp, basketball-wise, but classroom-wise, got all my kids in, and you know what? I only failed 1 kid.
That's pretty good, and I'm sure he deserved it. I bet he had to work pretty hard to fail.
Yeah. I've tried to help, and that's what I'm all about, is helping these kids and everything. But it's one of those things, man. Sometimes that one word just goes away, and it's accountability.
Yeah.
And for some reason, that word seems to be lost with some young individuals. But that word right there, very important to me. And, dude, I'm telling you right now, the vast majority of the kids in my classroom are going to be superstars. They were really, really solid in the classroom, and very, very proud of the kids that did very, very well in my class. And looking forward to a new group coming in August. August will be here before we know it. And we'll see what happens then. But very excited about the summer. I'm hoping, Ken, next year is a so-called normal school year. Because this past year was one of the most bizarre years that I've ever had being involved with education and coaching. So we'll see how that goes. But, man, I am very, very excited about what we have today. 2 great guys in Bobby Lane and Mike McClelland. And then tonight we're going to have Gerald Swindle and Wes Logan, the man that got the blue trophy here recently. Been on that lake for quite some time. All right, the last thing I've got is the email that I did print off, and I mentioned his name. His name is Matthew Johnston, and I'm not sure what state he's from, but he talked about the HFA, and we mentioned the HFA, the home lake advantage, home field advantage. I call it the HFA. And he says, guys, I listen to all your shows via Spotify on my drive home from work, which a lot of people do, either Spotify, iTunes, whatever the case might be. But he said, I have a question. I was thinking, is the HFA even more of an advantage this year because of the amount of time that the guys were able to spend on their home bodies of water due to COVID? And I was like, never really thought about that. But he brings up a good point, because what did the vast majority of guys do when they were off and they couldn't fish because the schedule was delayed or changed or move around? What did they do, Ken?
They went fishing.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's a really interesting observation. And Matthew may be onto something there. I think that's a really good observation. When we talk about the home field advantage, like we did briefly yesterday, a couple of the guys I brought up were the guys who dominated Lanier in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s. And that was Tom Mann Jr. and Mickey Bruce. Those guys lived around Lanier. They grew up around Lanier. They spent thousands of hours on Lanier. And then they hit the Pro Tour, and they would go a year or more and not fish Lanier because they were on the road so much. When they'd get home, Tom Mann Jr., for example, wanted to go play golf. He's a very avid and very talented golfer. His son plays golf. So he would stay off the water. And then the tournament would come to Lanier, and he would still dominate it. He would still win or finish second. And Mickey Bruce would do much the same thing. So even though these guys had opportunities to fish Lanier and stay on top of what the bite was out there, they often didn't do it. The second thing I would say is, COVID disrupted things and allowed these guys to spend more time on the water, but it allowed them to spend more time on their home waters, maybe at a very different time than the competition was happening. So I wonder, I think it's a great question. I think it's a really tough one to analyze and answer, though.
Yeah. And then his last statement is, Frank is one of my favorites. A lot of people liking Frank Scalish, and we'll have Frank on tomorrow for day 4. And we've got some things brewing with Frank that is going to be very, very exciting for the fans. So we'll dive into that a little bit more tomorrow. But great stuff, man.
As a Scalish fan, too. Although, Frank, for the longest time, Frank called me Kenneth. I have no idea why that is. So I
did that every now and then, but I didn't.
Yeah, you call me Kenny. You and my mom.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I kind of stopped doing that, though.
Hey, you're welcome to call me that.
It's more of a respect thing than anything else. I mean, you're not a Kenny. When you and I are standing around at the Classic or ICAST or whatever, and it's just me and you. Hey, Kenny, come here a minute. Maybe like that. But
that's good.
You're Ken. You're Ken. You're the man. All right.
I answered an ugly bald guy. I answered a lot of names. Whatever it takes.
It's all good. All right. So jam-packed show today, folks. And once again, just like these great comments that have been sent in to me from the fans, I try to respond to as many emails as I can on a timely basis. And now with school being out, it's even going to be a little quicker. So feel free to pass along your thoughts, your questions, and I'll try to get them to either Matt or Ken or Frank, or if you have something for me, I'll try to respond as quickly as possible. And that's one of the cool things about the show is the amount of response and the time that I have to set aside just to respond to the emails that Matt and I get on a daily basis. So thank you, fans. Thank you for the response, and thank you for the great questions and topical conversations that you submit.
Yeah, it's wonderful the feedback you get from folks, and one of the things that I think the fans may not, they should be more responsive because you take all that stuff to heart in terms of when they're making recommendations or asking questions, you're paying attention, and you're structuring and building the show around the feedback you get.
Yeah,
which I think is so critical, and it's why BTL has been so good for so long.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, we're going to take our first break. Come back with a man that's having a really, really good season so far. We'll try and dive into why the success and what his thoughts are on the remainder of the season on the BPT. So everybody stay tuned. Ken and I will be right back.
Ultimate fishing system starts with Lowrance HDS Live. The best fish finding tools, from chirp sonar and fish reveal to active imaging and new active target live sonar, and complete touchscreen control from your trolling motor to your big motor. For a limited time, building the ultimate fishing system will be easier on your wallet. Upgrade to HDS Live with a Ghost trolling motor, active target sonar, or live sight sonar and save up to $800.
Basscat's legendary 20-foot platform has been paired with angler-approved accessories for 2021. Puma FTD features the proven hull used by many of the top names in bass fishing today, backed by a transferable lifetime warranty. The Puma FTD boasts a full team deck concept which enhances efficiency for you and your tournament partners. Turnkey tournament-winning performance. The Puma FTD SP from Basscat.
Pro-inspired, pro-designed. tested and proven by legends on the water, dominating the tournament trail for over 50 years. Everything you need, one legendary brand. Strike King.
Hey guys, Major League Fishing Pro Jacob Wheeler here with my new Signature Series line of rods with Duck It Fishing. We have my 7.2 cranking rod right here. Crankbaits can be very fickle, and having the right, having a lot of tip can be too much, and having not enough tip can, lose a lot of fish. So you really got to be careful. If there's one or two techniques that I'm really adamant about having the perfect action is a crankbait, especially like the square bill, IDT6, those medium running crankbaits in the springtime when those fish's mouth are pretty tough. That's when I'm really on top of having my actions just perfect.
Utilizing my experience, utilizing my time on the water, evolving as an angler, and that evolution should never stop. You have to do it every day. From when you wake up in the morning, you got to be thinking about continually changing every minute, every cast. That's really the premise of fishing the moment.
Hey everyone, Brandon Polnick here. People always be asking me what I got tied on. I'm like, X-Zone lures. And they're like, Brandon, why you got X-Zone lures tied on? And I'm like, let me show you why. The bite. Get out of there. Get out of there. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's freaking digging. Get in here. Oh, God. Giant. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. I think you get the point.
All right, we are back here on a Wednesday, a jam-packed Wednesday for us here at BTL, and very excited for our next guest, Ken. And
absolutely, this is one of my favorite guys in the whole sport. I have Bobby Lane stories to tell.
Well, I don't know how many he'll let you tell, but let's bring him in now. Bobby, how you doing, man?
I'm good, guys. Good morning. Enjoying a day off here at Lake Eufaula. I'm fishing the pro circuit. Starts tomorrow.
Very nice, very nice. We will dive into all kinds of stuff, but I want to know first. Obviously, a lot of people across the country, especially in the South and the East, being affected by the hacking of the pipeline company. Gas supply. How are you doing for this tournament? Is everything okay?
Well, I can tell you one thing. I'm glad that I drive a Toyota and that my Phoenix has an extra 15 or 10 gallon tank put in it. When I hit the road from here, if I have a shortage, my boat will be filled up and my truck, and I can always use the gas from my boat to fill up my truck. So the good news is I know I'll make it home. But yeah, there was stations open yesterday that aren't open today, but the mayor said he's on top of things. The one up here at the Tom Mann Jr. on the Memorial Highway there, it has 3,000 to 4,000 gallons left, and we've been going through about 1,000 a day. So looks like we'll be okay for this tournament. But yeah, I'm hoping things get back to normal. This isn't a cool deal, especially when bass fishing runs on gasoline.
Yeah. The Open's taking place too. That's where Matt is. Didn't get a chance to talk to him on what the situation is in Virginia, but this is definitely going to affect some people with the weekend tournaments that are getting ready to take place, and just a lot of people in the South and East dramatically affected by this. So hopefully they get things in order and things get back to normal by the end of the week and the weekend. All right, man, let's dive in to Bobby Lane version 2021. You're off to a great start. What do you think the reason is mainly that you're having so much success this year?
Well, first of all, we had the COVID last year. We ended on Lake Fork and we didn't start back till about June. And that's I really love fishing that time of the year. The March, April, May events, those fish are still kind of on the bed, some coming off the bed. I can catch the shad spawn. I mean, it's just a fun time for me to fish. And, I catch them shallow then. So I missed that part of last year. And during the break, actually, I worked out a lot. I did a lot of running. I did a lot of weightlifting. And if it was do 50 push-ups, I'd make myself do 60, saying, if you're going to beat these guys, you got to go the extra distance. And that's the way I took my break, really. And it was after we ended the Bass Pro Tour. This wasn't during our off season. We ended kind of early last year after Sturgeon Bay, and then I fished those 3 super tournaments. And then after that, I really went to work, and I try to stay positive, and I try to push myself as hard as I could during the off season, and just keep a positive attitude every event that I've been at. And so far it's been working well, but my wife's been on me really good about staying positive and, tithing at the church, give back money. We just started tithing this year. So there's a lot of good things going on in my life. Right now, my fishing's been really good. So I'm going to say it's a lot of things that are working in my favor. It's not just one, for sure.
All right, Ken.
Bobby Lane, I'm such a huge fan of you, my friend. One of the best guys in the sport. And Bobby, you do ordinarily get off to a really strong start. You're always in the hunt for AOY and the points championships early. I remember in 2013 you finished 4th in AOY, and you had 3 top 7s, 6 top 20s, but then you hit Bull Shoals and then you hit West Point, and it's always been one event that's kept you from getting the big hardware. How do you battle that? How do you try to avoid that one bomb?
Well, first, Mark, I gotta say congrats to having Ken on the show. We don't get to talk to him much. It's good to see him. I love the hat, Ken. It's looking sharp. You're styling, man. I'm hoping that the positive attitude in the, I guess maybe being a veteran in the sport now, learning from those mistakes over and over again that I've made maybe not even made, but had to learn those mistakes that, maybe that'll put me over the edge. And I'm not, I never think about AOY. Me and Justin Lucas and my brother and his son, we're all staying in a deer camp this week up here at Eufaula that a friend of mine was so gracious enough to let us have while we're here, because lodging is always kind of an issue when you come to Eufaula. It's just wonderful to have a place out here. It's so cool. But, we were talking about it last night, and I told them guys, I'm not even worried about that. I'm just one day at a time, take the next event as close as it comes. The pro circuit is important. The Bass Pro Tour is important. I love what's going on right now with the fishing. I'm hoping to continue the year the way that it's going so far.
Bobby, the last event, how would you describe that final 30 minutes?
Oh, man. I knew that bite was good. I knew I had a shot to win that tournament. I fished those marinas hard all day, and I really, really believe I could have busted got into that 35, 40-pound mark and blown that tournament out of the water had not. The sun was what I needed, but I needed a little more wind, and it called for wind, and then it kind of got slick calm. And, I pulled up on a marina that I hadn't fished at the end, and I just had that positive attitude that my wife's been talking to me all year about. Positive attitude, no matter what is going on, you're never out of it till you're out of it. So, and that's the way I approached that last hour of Lake Travis was, okay, you're going to get some bites, get the fish in the boat, and win this tournament. And that one came down to a nail biter, but it's the positive attitude lately, knowing that you put in your time, you put your practice in. Now just go fish and let the cards lay where they lay. And this year it's just been working out perfect. But Jacob outfished me by 2 ounces. That was a tough one, and it makes you a little bit stronger as a fisherman. It makes you even hungrier to win one now, for sure.
All right, Ken, I'm going to swing it to you. But first, Bobby, turn your camera just a little bit, man. We're checking out what's in the cupboard there. What do you got? Cheetos back in there, or
I don't. That's my brother, probably. Yeah. How about now? Is that better?
Oh yeah, that's wonderful there.
Okay,
Yeah, that's
let me
good.
Get the finger out of the way. Sorry, that's probably my brother. He was eating Cheetos earlier. I'm sorry about that, guys.
No, now we got your finger. We got your finger in the shot now.
Okay. How about
there
now?
we go. All right, now we're good. All right, Ken.
Bobby, you were talking about some of the things you and Madeline are doing, the tithing, and I know that your faith is very important to you. Giving back is very important to you, and I want everybody to know that you give back as much or more as anybody in this sport. Mark, for what should have been 11 years, but COVID slowed things down last year. Bobby has been hosting, putting on, doing all the labor for what's known as the Bobby Lane Cup here in Central Florida. It's a youth tournament. And it started out kind of modest because I've been going every year. I'm Bobby's official photographer. But in recent years, it's been more than 200 boats. Every one of them has got a captain. Every one of them has got 2 young anglers in there, and they're competing for prizes and scholarships. These kids are getting academic scholarships as a result of this. So I don't know anybody else who's doing something on that scale. And Bobby, it's a real credit to you and your family, what you do with the Bobby Lane Cup.
Well, it's not just me. You know, the Bartow High School asked me to come in see that event 10 years ago. And then we just took it on from there. It's the people that are behind me, the ones that want to give, the Polk County crowd, the guys from Kentucky that come fish, and Alabama and Georgia and all over. They're the ones that deserve all the support on this. I could never do this alone if it wasn't for the awesome staff we have and everybody that supports the Bobby Lane Cup and all the sponsors. There's no way we could do this. It just makes, at the end of the day, I love watching the kids on the dock. I love watching them under the oak tree. They're going through their bag of goodies that Pure Fishing sends and all the other sponsors, and they're just having the best time of their life. And I remember coming up here when me and my brothers were younger, me, Arnie, and Chris, we would come right here to Tom Mann Jr.'s Fish World. He had a huge fish camp, and we did the same thing at that age. And I wanted to bring that back. And my brother also does a huge fish camp up in Guntersville. We do one in Florida now. So I think it's the way we were raised, you know, be very respectful, treat people with respect, but give back and make it best for the future the way you were raised. And I think that's why the Cup has been very successful. You know, we gave away, we've given away over $100,000 in scholarships so far. And we hope to continue to give away more and more every year because it's, you know, it gives these kids a chance and lets them know how important school is, but also how important fishing is. And it's made my day, and it's brought a lot of good things to the Bobby Lane Cup for sure. And I can't be more proud of the way it looks like we're going to be able to do it again in December of this year. And I'm super excited about that opportunity. It's a lot of work, but at the end of the day, every single thing is worth it. And every picture Ken takes, all 5,000 of them, we edit and go through. And it's so cool to sit back when it's over and look at all the videos and pictures of the things that you didn't see going on behind the scenes. So thank you, Ken, for your time there.
It's my pleasure.
It's a lot of kids and a lot of pressure, but we couldn't do it without one. All of us are super important in that event for sure.
It's a huge event, Mark, and it's star-studded too. I mean, not only do you obviously have Bobby, Chris, Arnie, Lane, their dad, Robert, but he's also got always a bunch of guys from the tours. You know, you'll see Shaw Grigsby out there, Bernie Schultz, JT Kenny, Mike Iaconelli. I've seen all those guys out there at one time or another. It's a big, big deal, and these kids just light up when they see these pros. It's something else, and the money that they raise for great causes, the prizes they give out, the way the sponsors step up is really, really something special.
Yeah, I'm getting chill bumps already, Ken, just thinking about it again, man. We didn't get to do it last year. We still gave away $17,000. We gave all the seniors a scholarship, and we invited them back to fish this year to give everyone an opportunity to fish that event. So we're grateful that we were able to do that. Grateful for the sponsors that supported it. Francesca's golf cart donated a cool golf cart. We did that giveaway. That raised almost $15,000, just that golf cart alone. So we got a lot of cool people supporting that event for sure.
Very nice. Awesome. Very good stuff. All right, man. I'm curious. A lot of fans are curious from a strategy standpoint and from a professional standpoint. How difficult is it to go from the MLF style of weighing it in to now in the TWPC 5 fish limits? I mean, is that even a factor at all, Bobby?
Well, I'm going to make one phrase, the best of both worlds. I got it. You know, I'm fishing 5 fish this week. Last week I was fishing all you can keep, and I love the way that both of them work. I love when you get on a group of fish that you can catch as many as you possibly can and weigh every one of them. But then again, I love when you're at a place like Lake Eufaula where the bite is kind of slower, that you've got to grind it out and catch 5. So I keep my culling tags in my boat at all times. I get to use my live wells and my Phoenix half the time of the year, and it's a win-win for me right now. I truly love the 5 fish limit, but I really, really like the all you can catch and let go immediately. So, you know, it is difficult. I even called Daniel Fennell, or I called somebody yesterday and said, hey, do we have to be off the water at 6 or can we fish all day? Because last week we had to be off the water at 6 on our second day of practice. So the rules can be a little, floundering. Sometimes you don't know exactly, but for the most part, I'm very proud of Major League Fishing for letting us be a part of this pro circuit. I love the 5 fish limit, and the Bass Pro Tour is doing better than ever. And I was very grateful for the success that we're having so far this year. Texas has been good to me. Texas was good to me.
Yes, it was. All right. Can you give us any juice or any little tidbits about how things are shaping up this week?
So I have seen shad spawns before in my life. This is the juice. Not only are there shad spawning, I have never seen so many giant white birds. You could literally follow them with your boat the first morning of practice, or they would follow you. Hundreds of giant white cranes would land on the bank and start eating shad. Of course, half of them didn't have bass on them, but it's going to be an okay event. We're dealing with all kinds of scenarios. Shad spawn in the morning. You have a river bite, but now it's pouring rain. There's a little bit of a river bite going on. There's a course, Eufaula's known for its brush piles lately. We watch that during Red Crest. So those guys that have the brush piles will be catching some big fish too. I think it's going to be a great event. We're dealing with cloud cover tomorrow and sunshine on Friday. So we've been thrown curveballs every day this year with the weather, but Eufaula is known for its quality fish, and there's several of them biting. So I would expect to see it go round and round here at Eufaula this week. I could not pick a winner. Even if a guy was to mix it up shallow and deep, I still couldn't pick one. I think it's going to be all over the place, man. These fish some are just coming off the bed, garden fry, and some were done a month ago. This has been a crazy spring for sure.
Ken?
You talk about the shad spawn, Bobby. How about giving us a tip on dealing with a shad spawn? Maybe a couple of key baits, a couple of go-to patterns when the shad are obviously spawning out there.
Yeah, that's always something to look for. So you keep it simple, man. I'm throwing a swim jig with a Grass Pig Junior on it. I mean, even guys that are in this event can watch. I don't care. It's not off limits for them to hear. But I like a little swim bait. I love that Grass Pig Junior on the back of my swim jig. You have to have a spinnerbait on, and I keep 2 or 3 different colors. And it's weird. It depends on the water level, man. This place can drop within a foot overnight. So sometimes that bank grass has got 2 foot of water in it, and then the next day you go out there, it's got a foot of water on it, which makes it really, really thick to fish. So you kind of got to be prepared to get stuff down in it. But then again, you also need stuff that'll swim through it if the water's up. And like I said, it's raining really hard right now, so I don't know what that's going to do. I know they'll pull some, but it's going to be shad are fun to catch. You can catch them on top. When the shad spawn on, it's usually a good topwater bite also. So I would be watching for that bass tracker in the morning to be flying off the charts pretty early. I would bet my bottom dollar that half the field has pretty good weight within the first hour of the tournament tomorrow.
All right. Very cool.
We've talked a lot about your being from Florida, and nobody's more of a Florida guy than the Lane families and Bobby. I'm going to bring up one kind of tough thing. The only kind of Florida guy who's ever won AOY on a major tour is Scott Martin. And although he's spent basically his whole life down there around Okeechobee, he was born in Oklahoma, but let's call him a Florida guy.
Sure.
What is it that is stopping the Florida guys from being successful all over the country for that full year? What's the disadvantage?
Well, I would say the disadvantage was electronics for sure. I think that was our biggest flaw, was we are so used to maybe only using map and sonar. Now I'm going to tell you, Ken, I don't think there is a disadvantage to a Florida guy winning AOY simply because of the upgrade in Lowrance electronics. The active target, I have used it. I have learned it. I used it in Travis there. I could actually see a lot of those fish I was catching suspending on those cables. And you're talking, I was in 136 foot of water. I don't even carry that much line on my reel. But we made it work, and I'm learning these electronics. So I truly believe there is not a reason for a Florida guy to win AOY. I think that was my biggest flaw, was getting offshore and locating those fish. But I feel like that I can compete now that I have the correct electronics. And when I'm home, I really do go to a lot of our little local lakes around there. Me and my wife did several times, and she goes, "Do you know what you're doing up there?" And I said, "I'm going to learn it, I promise." And she goes, "You need to." She used to always tell me, "If you're going to beat Kevin Van Dam, you got to learn how to throw a crankbait." I said, "I don't want to throw crankbaits." And she goes, "See, I told you, Kevin won another one. Kevin won another one." And he was cranking. So I'm learning a lot more about the offshore fish, and I'm hoping what the homework that I've done comes to pay itself off down the road.
Well, you've done that. You've won ledge tournaments at Kentucky Lake and places like that. And you've always, and Mark, a lot of people may not realize this because Bobby didn't win one, but this guy is one of the all-time great Bassmaster Classic competitors. And he never competed in one in Florida. It was always in cold weather when Bobby was competing. It was always further up north. It was always on a deeper bite. And this guy was consistently right there close to the first place. So he's not a guy who can only catch him shallow.
Yeah, that came from, I think those were all learning curves, Ken. I really do. I think all those cold classics that we fished, a lot of that cold weather, and then fishing in the fall. Down in Florida, we did not travel a whole lot when we were younger, and the BFLs and stuff like that. We'd always fish Okeechobee, Lake Seminole, and Kissimmee, and the Harris Chain. That's where we stayed most of the time. And I think getting out, venturing into those other bodies of water, learning the cold, learning how to relate, knowing you're going to be a tough bite, but the ones you're going to catch are big, to keep your confidence up at all times, have patience. All that was huge for me back then, and I've learned a lot more about. Of course, I didn't do well real here in Redcrest, but there was a lot of struggling that went on here that time of the year. But over the years, I've surely have learned a lot about the cold water, and I've learned a whole lot about being offshore. And that was, I got a big grin for that win in Kentucky Lake over Kevin Van Dam. Cranking and a swim bait and a 10-inch worm. Big power worm out there saved the day on that final day to catch that 17 pounds. But that was a super cool win. And, I won the world championship in 17, and I won a cup event. And I think the year after that or before, in an open. I'm hungry for another win. And that was a nail biter last week, but I'm not letting any of that hinder me, man. I got both feet on the gas, and I'm ready for whatever comes my way.
Well, all right, Bobby, I have to tell you, recently, one of the coolest things that I watched you do was that day that you were on Table Rock, where you were absolutely smashing them at Table Rock. Obviously, with Table Rock being one of the special lakes for me, and I love that lake. I love everything about it. But it was just so cool because, once again, like so many patterns, people have the tendency to kind of look at you in a different way from a power fisherman. You know what I'm saying? And everything that you did that day was just so cool, and what you caught was so entertaining to watch, man.
Well, I that was a cool tournament for sure. And, we were there in the fall earlier for an open championship, and I was catching quite a few spotted bass around those bluff walls. And it was just something I needed to check. Like, I feel like I maybe catch the late spawn, and good Lord, that was some of the funnest fishing ever. But hey, don't think I'm not power fishing. I will not have a spinning rod on my deck tomorrow. I caught everyone flipping a big weight in we were throwing Berkeley spin rockets down there at Okeechobee this year, and caught some really big ones. So those spinning rods have made me a lot of money, and I'm building more confidence. I love the smallmouth fishing now. And I think it's just, I love just fishing, and the more different venues that we get to go to at different times of the year, the more you get to learn. And I, believe it or not, it's just a memory bank for me. I don't write anything down or keep notes, but I try to take something from every event and know that, maybe next time or whatever. But Table Rock is a special place. That is super cool, and I love that event. That was a close one again, for sure.
Yeah, Ken.
Couple things. Everybody talks about big fish Bobby Lane, but what a lot of people may not realize is back in the elite days with the 5-fish limit, there were only a handful of guys who ever limited every day for a full season. Bobby Lane did it 3 times.
Wow.
Nobody else did that. Nobody
That's
else.
why
So
I
this
like this guy, Mark. He's got the stats.
He's the man.
This guy catches them every time out. He
He's
also
the man.
nearly set the record for consecutive limits. Van Dam had the record for a long time at 57. Well, Bobby posted 55 at one stretch, and then he had another stretch of like 47. And like I said, for 3 full seasons, he caught a limit every day. And the last thing I want to throw out there is I got to tell this Bobby Lane story because I've got the perfect storm to tell the story. Because a mutual friend of ours, Steve Chapman, Bobby, is listening right now. So here's the deal. 10 or so years ago, Steve invited me. It was the first time I ever had a chance to go out and fish Lake X here in Central Florida, the legendary place where they used to test Mercury motors. And they still do, as a matter of fact. Anyway, so I had a chance to go out there, and he was saying, well, we'll fish 3 to a boat. We'll have a little competition, and there'll be a couple of boats out there. And I said, well, if we're going to have a little competition, how about I bring a friend and a boat? And he said, oh, that'll be great. And I didn't tell him who it was going to be. And I called up Bobby, and I said, hey, man, let's go tomorrow. We'll go to Lake X. We'll fish. And he said, I'm in. So I show up with Bobby Lane, which I think is every bass fishing nut's dream, to show up for a competition with a Bobby Lane or an Edwin Evers or a Kevin Van Dam. And they were all so pissed off at me. It was great.
And you beat me that day, Ken, on your tomato worm. Remember that?
Well, we had a good time. But here's what I remember about that particular day, Bobby, because
he caught him on it. It was crazy.
Wow.
There was, but on this particular day where we were out there with Steve and some other guys, you got on a buzz frog type bite, and we were keeping 5 just to weigh in. And Mark, the water out there is so tannin stained that when you have a fish in the live well, you literally cannot see the fish, not at all. You do not. You cannot tell if there's a fish in there. Yeah. So Bobby's up there catching them faster than I can cull. And he's throwing them he's dropping them in the live well, and I can't find them. So I can't even fish because he's just cackling and laughing his head off at me because I can't cull fast enough to keep up with him. So I thought we were friends until that day.
Wow.
Yeah, we still are, and it sounds like we need to go back out there. I do remember that, and I would love to get back out there again. That was some super fun times for sure. What a beautiful, beautiful place.
All
right, Bobby.
It's a special place.
All right, man. Last question, and then we'll let you go. We've got Mike McClelland on deck, but I'm curious. The next stop on the BPT is the Harris chain. Is that right?
Yes, it is. Next week.
Yeah, in late May, what can we expect then? Because it's been a while since we've had an event kind of in that time period on the Harris chain.
I think we're going to hit Harris at a pretty good time. I went over there for the pre-practice and rode around a few days because it's only an hour from the house. And they had just sprayed the hydrilla, so the hydrilla ought to be coming back. It's been a month since they've sprayed it. We dodged. We normally only used to come to Florida back in January and February. It was because it was so cold everywhere else. And I'm glad to see that we are coming there later in the year. And that's when you start seeing those great big post-spawn fish that really want to get up and feed. I think there's going to be a lot of things going on there. I'll keep it real simple. Flipping, brush piles, and hydrilla. Those lakes offer every single one of those, and it's been in the 90s down there. I mean, it's been super hot, but this is the time of the year. The first couple of weeks in May is some of the biggest fish in Florida. I say biggest stringers. You see a lot of 7 to 9 pound fish because they haven't gotten their weight all the way back yet, caught in the first couple of weeks of May. I know Ken's worked a few tournaments with me at Lake Toho, the Wounded Warriors event. There was a couple of weeks in the first week of May. We had over 32 trophy catch bass weighed in one day. They did it again the next year. 20-something fish. That's over 8 pounds. In one day, over 30 were caught on Lake Toho. And Harris has the same kind of quality fish. So I would expect good things. I would expect big weights. And, guys, I've been in Texas for 2 straight Bass Pro Tour events, and I'm in 56 in the heavy hitter points for big fish. And I made 2 top 10s. I cannot believe that I've caught a 4-pounder and a 3-pounder for my 2 big ones. So I'm hoping to regain my composure at Harris and catch one of those Florida giants to get me into heavy hitters, because I missed that last year, and that hurt a lot. It really did. And I've caught every one of these the pro circuit events. I've caught big fish. I've had an 8, a 6, and a 7. I caught a 5.5 at Smith Lake. I caught an 8 at Florida, and I caught a 6 something at Lake Murray. Big ones. And I have been to Texas twice, and I've caught a 4 and a 3. So, man, I'm hoping that when we go to Harris, that I'm going to catch one of them big old mamas down there for sure.
Wow. All right. Great stuff, Bobby. Can't thank you enough for taking time out. Best of luck to you this week at the TWPC. And Ken, any final thoughts with Bobby?
Love to see you take down the points title.
Ken, I'm working for you, buddy. I want to say thank you both for having me on. I can't wait to watch Mike McClelland. I know he's got a couple of cool stories, something that just happened recently. So anybody watching, make sure you stay tuned in, because I'm dying to hear the Mike McClelland story that just happened recently. Ken, It was good to see you. Love the hat. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Keep everybody safe and healthy out there. Want to say hi to my wife and kids. And good luck to everyone on Eufaula tomorrow. Thanks, Mark. Appreciate you.
All right, man. Take care, Bobby.
Take care, Bobby.
See you guys.
See ya. There you have it. Bobby Lane. Great stuff, man. That dude, he's got it going on, Ken. And he has for a while. Those stats that you reeled off, unbelievable, man.
Yeah, not everybody realizes, they think of Bobby as a guy who's out there targeting big fish, power fishermen and all that. And a lot of that's true, but he's also absolutely one of the best at bringing a 5-fish limit to the scales every day. There's just a handful of guys who do it more often than Bobby Lane, and nobody except Bobby has done it for 3 full seasons.
Yeah, it's awesome. Great stuff. Love having Bobby on the show. All right, we're going to take our final break. Come back with Mike McClelland. Everybody stay tuned.
companies get bigger and bigger and talk about their fancy labs where they study fish behavior, but then they all go golfing on the weekend. We don't have a large laboratory to test baits. Why, you ask? We don't need a big laboratory because our pros fish, our employees fish, our salespeople fish, our suppliers fish, our mold builders fish, our owners fish, and our kids fish. This is our laboratory. Our R&D comes from time on the water, learning how to make fish bite. All that time on the water brings us thousands of hours of testing new products and improving current ones for all species.
Let's face it, fishing electronics are no longer an afterthought. They've become a necessity. And at the Bass Tank, our experts match you with the right electronics, provide professional installation, and educate you to help maximize your catching results while providing support along the way. Because let's be honest, it's about catching, not just fishing. And when you're ready for better results, join the Bass Tank team. Visit us today on Facebook or go to thebasstank.com.
You've been waiting all week for this, and Sunline wants to make sure you're ready for it with bulk spools of all your favorite fishing lines.
Oh, it's so fun.
Bulk up with Sunline.
Guys, what makes our Spro lures beat the competition?
I mean, you have to admit, we nailed it with my McSticks and rock crawlers.
Man, we've all won money on my plugs.
My Wamix shot put fish in my boat.
One thing's for sure, we all count on our Spro lures to beat the competition.
Designing cutting-edge baits with some of America's top anglers. Spro lures beat the competition. To see the entire lineup, visit a retailer near you or spro.com.
The Ned rig. What rod should I be using with the Ned rig? My favorite is the Denali Lithium multi-spin rod. It's our 7'4" length, great Ned rig rod. It's got a great sensitive tip on it. It's long enough where I can make long casts, which you're usually fishing clear water with a Ned rig, and it's got enough backbone to get those fish in. So check it out, Denali Lithium Series 7'4" multi-spin.
All right, we are back on a Wednesday, and it is time to go to our second guest. And can't wait to talk to Mr. Mike McClelland. It's been a while since he's been on BTL. And had a good event at the last event. I think he finished 9th, if I'm correct. You're the stat guy. You probably know, Ken. I think it was
Mike
9th.
McClelland is one of the most consistently successful guys out there. I mean, I know he didn't have the greatest year recently, but this guy is, he caught a bass in 263 consecutive days in elite competition, which is outrageous. That's a lot. That's better than a lot. He had one of the largest margins of victories in elite history back at a Grand. He has a couple of the biggest comebacks in BASS history where he came back from huge deficits to win. This is a guy who can catch him in the Whackfest derbies where everybody's catching 20, 25 pounds. This is a guy who is money when it's tough. Mike McClelland always finds a way to come to the scales with fish, and that's one of the things I really admire about him as an angler.
Yeah. All right, let's bring him in now. Mike, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, you guys. It's as Bobby said, it is great to see Ken Duke being a part of this show. I love Matt to death, but it's awesome to have Ken here.
Well, Mike, you say that, but in fairness here, this is about to turn ugly.
What? No, it's not. All right, everybody out there watching, the vast majority of people know I've been into the sport of bowling for a number of years. I'm a PBA member. Since my accident, I'm trying to make a little bit of a comeback. I've kind of dabbled a little bit. But bowling is near and dear to me and has been for a lot of years. And when I heard, Mike, that you had a little accident in the bowling center, I was like, we got to get him on and find out what the heck happened, because you've been injured, my friend. Why don't you tell everybody about it?
Well, the Travis event, the first day was a pretty challenging day for a lot of us. Didn't really know what to expect from Travis after being there for a normal 5-fish tournament. And man, the lake is absolutely full of fish, but the numbers that ended up showing up was pretty amazing when it comes to what it took to be a 2-pound fish. And we got together on our day off and decided to go have a little bowling competition. And, that's the whole thing about what we do out here. We are competitors, whether we're on the water or off the water. And myself, David Walker, Brett Height, we decided to go bowling. My wife was with us. Brett's wife, Courtney, was with us. And I'm a fierce competitor. And I was really not bowling well at all. And I just kept pushing and pushing, trying harder, trying to approach the lane faster, doing whatever I could to bowl a strike. And at some point, my toe, I remember, I must have.
Oh, he just went away.
You're kidding.
That's grief.
Totally unfair.
All right.
You can't let Mike off the hook here.
Did he purposely do that because he didn't want us to know? I'm sure he'll chime back in on the link.
I warned him earlier that he should not be on the program, that it wasn't going to be pretty.
Oh, my goodness. Did he set that up? All right. I think he's trying to get back in right now. Let's see.
All right.
He's kind of in the queue. I think he's got the recreational area internet connection, and sometimes that's a little choppy. All right, here. All right, we got you back, man.
I love that you're setting it up all about this. I love that you're setting up all about the fierce competitor thing, Mike. That was nicely done.
Yeah, so I remember, I don't know where you lost me, but I remember hitting like a dry spot with my toe, and my ankle rotated inward, and I ended up head first in the lane itself. Have you ever tried to get up on a green bowling lane?
Oh, well, first of all, Mike, look at there. He's fishing in a boot. Oh, my goodness. Did you go past the arrows?
Do you have the rest of the stormtrooper suit?
Did you go past the arrows, Mike?
Yes, I did go past the arrows.
Oh,
I was literally trying to get back up, and you've probably.
His internet connection is driving me bonkers.
That's terrible. That's terrible.
Michael, come on, dude. You know what's funny is he was sitting in the queue for about 10 minutes while we were interviewing Bobby, and it was fine. There wasn't any issue. And then now we've had him on, and twice we've lost connectivity with Mike. So hopefully he will come on here once again. But I'm telling you, that is something that has never happened to me. Even when I was a youth, Ken, to go past the foul line or slip or fall or whatever. And it's not actually grease, people. It is oil. It's oil. Yeah. And you get it on your clothes. You get it. It's just a mess if you ever do go down on the lane like Mike did. So for him to go past the arrows and suffer that ankle injury, there were a lot of rumors out there that he actually hit his ankle with a bowling ball, and according to him, that's not the case. He stuck, he fell, he slipped, he went past the arrows, and a result, he's in a boot. Now, hopefully we can find out how long he's going to be in a boot. All right, man, we got you back.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys.
That's all right.
It's crazy. I sat here and listened to Bobby's whole interview, and it all stayed connected, and I get on and it goes out. But no, Great news. Went to the orthopedic doctor when I returned back home from Travis after having a relatively good event. I did want to correct you, Mark. The way the final day works, the two guys that won their first round did not compete. So I finished 9th in the knockout round, but I actually finished 11th overall. So I had a good event.
Okay.
Doing well in the points so far, but went home, went to the orthopedic doctor. He re-x-rayed my ankle. It showed a slight hairline fracture is all. It's basically on the backbone of like where the tendons attach from your ankle to your tibia. And it's just a small hairline fracture. And fortunately, I am going to be in the boot for probably 2 more weeks. And then he feels that I can get away with an ankle brace afterwards.
All right. So what's it like fishing in a boot?
Well, the first event there at Travis, it was all completely new to me, as it probably would be for anybody. I don't recall ever seeing anybody in a boat with a boot on. And I was really, really apprehensive, but as I said a while ago, I'm a fierce competitor and I'm not going to quit if there's a way to keep going. And it was a rough day, but there was a lot learned from that day, I think. Every now and then the good Lord taps you on the shoulder. I know I heard Bobby talk about his faith and things that are going on in his life. And every now and then you get a little tap on the shoulder saying you need to change things up. And I really feel like God was just kind of telling me, you're getting too old to keep up with these young guys fishing the way they're trying to fish. It's time you go back to fishing the way that you've been successful fishing. And man, I kicked back. I put my Motor Guide trolling motor on anchor mode. I used my Garmin live scope. I would pull up to a point that I knew they were on, anchor mode down with my trolling motor, and literally sit there and pick the point apart. And that's kind of where a lot of my successes over the years have come. I mean, I've run and gun and had success in events, but generally when I've done well in events, it's been when I've really figured an area out and utilized it to everything that I can get out of it.
All right, Mike. When is the next time? And I hate to. We got a little feedback there. I hate to put you on the spot, but when is the next time that you're going to be around Oklahoma? Any idea?
One more time, Mark. I missed that.
Yeah. When is the next time that you're going to be around Oklahoma? Anytime soon?
It's going to be a while, and I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to get me back in the bowling alley, and I don't know if I'm going back.
Well, no. This is what I was going to do. All right. I invite you to the studio because right over there in the corner, I have a mill press that I drill all my bowling balls. I was going to offer a custom fitting of a brand new Brunswick bowling ball on me. Get you hooked up, get you fitted right to where that doesn't happen again.
That sounds like a great idea. It actually is a really busy schedule for myself and Bobby right now. We're both fishing the pro circuit as well as the Bass Pro Tour. My wife and I are now on the road for, I believe it's 6.5 or 7 more weeks. We go from here to the Harris Chain, to Chickamauga, to the Potomac, and then straight to the St. Lawrence River. So you're going to have to give me a rain check for at least 8 weeks.
I'm good with that. It is an open invitation. I'm going to take care of you, Mike. All right?
Sounds good. I don't know how soon I'm going to actually use the ball, though.
Anytime, man. It'll just be sitting there. I'm going to take one that I have. I'm going to put it over in the corner. I'm going to write your name on the box. And whenever you want it, dude, it's yours.
That sounds great, Mark.
All right.
I really apologize about the connection, guys.
Yeah, that's what happens. You're in the RV, right? Are you in the RV? No?
Yes. We're in our Montana fifth wheel, and it's an awesome way to travel.
Yeah. All right. Good stuff. Now, I do want to ask you. You kind of dived into it a little bit about you had a good event at Travis. Really, you mentioned sticking to your game, and the one thing that I remember about your game is seeing you just absolutely annihilate them, sitting on a point and then moving to another point and then going back to the point that you just fished, and then going back to the point that you just fished. And the next thing I know, you got 22, 23 pounds. All right? Is that kind of what you're and he went away. Jeez. That's the old recreational area internet right there, Ken.
When is Mike going to get the satellite dish installed on top of the RV?
I don't know. I
think the fifth wheel should come with that. That shouldn't even be an option. It should just
you
be
pay that much money for it. Yeah, man. Throw in the internet. It's kind of like getting floor mats, I guess, with a new car. Hey, you remember when they used to do the undercoating? Do they still do that up north for the snow?
I'm down here in Florida, man. I don't know, but I bet they do. I think they try to sell you that at any new car dealership, no matter where you are.
You could be in Texas. You could be in. All right, you're back, Mike.
There he is.
I'm back.
All right, so I remember the old Mike, the dominant Mike, the Mike that threw the football jig and the Carolina rig and dominated. Is that what you're talking about? Kind of throwing it back a little bit?
Yeah, I would say to a degree, yes. Now, I did most of my damage at Travis with a big bite swim bait and a little 3.5 Cabela's go-to swim minnow. But the thing about it was for the last year and a half of the Bass Pro Tour, I have truly tried to change the way I fished. And after watching live, once I've gotten knocked out of competition, it has all started coming to me that these guys are still just fishing the way they always fish. And I really believe that I'm starting to see that I need to just fish the way Mike McClelland has always fished, and I'll be just fine. I'm going to get back to the old school stuff, setting on points longer and, really breaking places down and trying not to, fish the whole lake like some of these guys do.
Yeah, there's a picture, and you can't see it, but one of those 4 pictures, the picture in the bottom left right there is a picture of you fishing the one spot on Grand Lake that everybody that I spoke with during that tournament, they said, did you see where McClelland was fishing? What the heck is he fishing? That's the picture right there. And I will never forget that moment with you in that area. And I guarantee you, I mean, this is years and years ago, but that area got absolutely obliterated after what you did off of that one spot at Grand. And, dude, I'm telling you, there's a lot of Mike McClelland left out there to do some damage, and I seriously hope that you get back into the groove that Ken talked about when he was throwing out the stats there, because I know you got it in you, and you're one of the coolest guys out there on tour, and I respect everything that you've done.
I appreciate that, and I wished I could have heard some of Ken's stats, because those are always confidence boosters, And Bobby, said it so well earlier. Ken has kept up with this sport and industry better, I think, than anyone, and it's always cool to sit down and have conversations about the stats. He brings things up to me that I don't even remember happened, so it's really awesome that Ken's part of the show today.
Do you remember that spot on Grand Lake? The picture? Do you remember that?
Well, there were actually. Which spot?
That is
there
the
were
spot.
2 or 3 spots that were really good.
Yeah, that spot there was the spot that you look up. It was a do-nothing bank that went up pretty extreme, but there wasn't like a point. There wasn't a boat dock. There was nothing. It's just like
on the main lake.
On the main lake. God bless America. No. Jeez, Mike. The next time we have him on, even though he's gone for what do you say, 8 weeks or whatever? Yeah, he's got to have that internet situation taken care of.
Yeah, I mean, I realize it's maybe not the number one priority for guys on the road, but it's getting to be.
It really is
priority, because these guys do so many interviews, and Mike is such a sought after guest on programs like this. We got to have better internet out of Mike McClelland.
That's right. He's back. I agree. He's back. All right. So, do you remember the spot now? Do you remember the spot?
Yeah, I do believe I remember. Yeah, I remember. It's actually an underwater shoal that I actually don't know how it was created, but you're exactly right. I mean, it looks like you're on the end of a bluff, but there's just an underwater gravel point that comes out for quite a ways, and there's never been a lot of brush on that spot, but it's just one of those places that in the post-spawn period, a lot of fish end up there to feed, especially when the shad spawn starts happening.
Yeah, that's good stuff. All right, man, we're going to let you go. What are your thoughts on this week? You feel good about this week? And then we're going to get Ken Duke, his final thoughts.
Yeah, it's going to be a grind, like Bobby said. The shad spawn is definitely going to play first thing in the morning. We actually don't take off till 6:30 standard time, Central Standard Time, which it is daylight here really at about 5:15, 5:30. So we're going to miss, an hour and a half of the first light. It could, be a little rough on the guys that are totally dependent on the shad spawn. It's going to be a grind. I mean, Eufaula has a lot of quality fish in it, but it just doesn't seem like the numbers are showing themselves right now. So I'm glad this is a 5-fish event the way my practice has gone. I've gotten some good bites, going old school, just get the old little brown jig after them and see what happens. I am fishing a little brush out there on some points, throwing a little big bite swimmer, and I've utilized my Garmin quick draw features to fill in some of the voids, where there was a lot of timber, and I've found some little tricky stuff that hopefully will pan out.
All right, good stuff. Ken, final thoughts.
I'm not worried about Mike McClelland catching 5. It always happens. It's what Mike McClelland does. Here's what I'm worried about, Mike. There's an age-old question in the sport of competitive bass fishing, and the question is, are anglers athletes? And I fear you have answered that in the negative with the whole bowling incident.
We are fierce competitors, as I said, and I was trying everything I could do. My wife was absolutely killing me in the bowling match, and that normally doesn't happen.
Why do you keep digging? Why do you keep digging and talking about how Stacy was beating you, talking about the injury? Stop digging, my friend. Stop digging. I know you're a fierce competitor because you're a hell of a poker player. And whereas Mark was asking you if you remember some particular bluff, shoal out there, I'm going to ask you about something different if you remember. Do you remember a poker table in Shreveport at the 2012 Classic? You and I were there. It was mostly a bunch of Arkansas guys, and there was one wildly drunk, wildly inappropriate guy who kept getting warned by the floor that he was about to get kicked out of the whole casino, who cracked my pocket aces with 7-5 off when he rivered a straight. But it was one of the wildest poker nights I have ever seen, and you were to my left. Do you remember that one?
I do remember that incident, and I do want to clear up that I was not that person they were warning they were going to throw out.
No.
But there was a guy that was creating all kinds of trouble that night.
And he knocked me out. So he took me out. After that, after he busted me on the aces, I just got up and left. I decided it was not my night. But anyway, You are a fierce competitor. Stick to fishing and poker, my friend. Stay away from bowling alleys. Do not let Jeffries make you a bowling ball. Mark, if you're going to give this man a bowling gift, make it a helmet and some pads, okay?
No. I'm going to take care of him. All right. We're going to end with this, Mike. I'm going to give you a little bit of hopeful news. Not good news, not bad news, hopeful news. All right. The first thing, obviously, I'm going to take a ball that I have in a box right now. I'm going to throw it over in the corner, put your name on it. The second thing that I want to let you know is we are in the early, and I would emphasize the word early, about discussions or in discussions to bring back fish and chips. What are your thoughts on that?
That would be a lot of fun if we could get that event off the ground again. That was a blast for everyone.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
No points involved, just a lot of fun.
Yep.
That would be great, Mark. A lot of guys would love to get back in that.
Yeah, so early discussions right now. We'll see what develops. But would love to have you be a part of that event once again. And you too, Ken. That was something that even Van Dam said that he was looking forward to. It was one of the funnest events that he had been a part of. So hopefully we can pull that together and get it going maybe in 2022. All right, Mike, we're going to let you go, man. Best of luck this week and continued luck on the remainder of the BPT schedule. And we'll definitely talk to you soon, man.
I'm a fan, Mike McClelland.
That's
Stay out
great,
of
man.
the
Thanks
lanes.
for having me on today.
Stay out of the lanes, Mike. I'm a fan of yours. I want you away from bowling.
I'll stay out of the lanes, at least for the next 6 or 8 weeks.
All right. There you have it. All right. Take care, Mike.
Thanks.
See ya. There you have it, Mike McClelland. And good stuff, man. I could just picture him. And he's right. He's super competitive. It doesn't matter what it is. Super, super competitive. But I can still picture him sticking at the line and going all the way down to the arrows. And everybody else is just cracking up. Meanwhile, he's got oil all over him.
If I was not aware if there's a bowling subculture out there on the tournament trail, but Mark, you and I both know very well there's a big poker subculture out there. And I used to cover a lot of tournaments for BASS back when I worked there, and I always loved it if the tournament had a casino nearby, because I knew if there was bad weather and we had a postponement, that it would be me and guys like McClelland and Faircloth and Kelly Jordan and all run into the casino to play.
Yeah.
It was always a good time. But the most serious poker player out there is probably Rick Clunn. Clunn has played in some World Series events, I believe, and he's very serious and very good. But Rick won't play during the middle of a bass tournament because he likes to get himself mentally prepared for the poker event and not to disengage from what he's trying to do on the water.
He has played several times in the Heartland Poker Tour. Also.
And he almost made a final table. He bubbled a final table at one of those.
Yeah. Really good poker player too. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Hey, did I ever tell you about the story about me playing in the World Series of Poker?
I think everybody knows that story, don't they? But I think you should tell it right now.
No, I'm not going to go
there. It's a great story. Come on.
No, I'll save that one for later.
It's your 50th birthday present, and
no, I'll save it for later.
All right.
But I won a trip to the Philippines, and the Philippines did not take place. The short version is, folks, I was the first guy out of the main event of the World Series of Poker. And when you were the first guy out in the main event, back then they put you in a tournament, all expenses paid, and this tournament that they put you in was in the Philippines, and it was going to be an all-expense paid trip plus entry fee to the Philippines. And the tournament ended up getting canceled because of a typhoon, and I end up getting a check for like $6,000. Just mailed to
awesome. That helps to cover that $10,000 entry fee. And folks,
dude,
when he said sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, I was just going to say I had probably 4 of the most incredible hands that I've ever had to start a poker tournament.
Didn't you get knocked out on pocket queens or something?
Pocket aces.
Pocket aces. Oof.
Yeah. So it was a great time, great experience. Got interviewed a zillion times because I was the first guy knocked out. So
and it was. When he says the first guy knocked out, there were probably 7,000 people in the tournament.
It was quite the memory, and I'm going to do it again. All right, that's another bucket list thing before things come to an end for me. All right, folks, I do want to follow up on something from yesterday. I mentioned that I was going to have a phone call with my contact on getting somebody from Bass Pro Shops or White River Marine to come on the show, and this is the information that I received yesterday on that phone call. I am being very, very patient with my contact. My contact is somebody that owns a PR company that works with Bass Pro Shops and the U.S. Open tournament thing that they have going on. She asked me to give her just a little bit more time because instead of trying to get J.P. Morris on, John Paul Morris, they're actually going to work on getting a senior management person from White River Marine to come onto the show. So she definitely said that J.P. Morris is not going to be able to make it due to his schedule and time restrictions and whatever else. All right, just not going to be able to do it because he's too busy. So they are working on getting somebody that is in a senior management position from White River Marine, of which I will have an answer, all right, by Monday of next week. So, folks, I'm doing my best. I'm using all my connections to try and get somebody to come on and not speculate or base an opinion on what you think might be taking place, but to get the person or individual that is responsible for the management of what this whole situation that is taking place from a pro staff standpoint. I'm working on it. I'm doing everything I can. I can't force people to come on. If they don't want to talk about it, they're not going to talk about it. There's people out there that are going to continue to speculate why. I will say this. This person that is working for me to try and put together this situation, she is really, really working hard. She understands the importance to communicate the message of whatever the message is to the fans and not speculate, and people out there continue to base opinions on what they think rather than factual information. So I will continue to try and get somebody from White River Marine to come on the show, and we'll go from there. So I'm going to keep trying to work for you guys, all right? Next up, finally, the PM version of BTL tonight. A big show. We're going to have Gerald Swindle on at 7 p.m. Central Time, and then we're going to have Wes Logan on, the latest winner on the Bassmaster Elite Series, immediately following the show that we have with Gerald. So make sure you check that out. There is nothing listed right now on the Bass Zone. There is a I don't even know what you call it, a show set up on YouTube for this PM show. So greatly appreciate anybody that wants to ask Gerald questions. This is all a result of numerous emails that I received from fans that wanted to try and get Gerald on to talk about the buzzbait. And I said it yesterday, Ken. I was glued. I could sit there and watch that camera on his buzzbait go through those water willows or whatever they were and just wait for that explosion. Waiting and waiting.
There are a few things more exciting than a good buzzbait bite. I mean, that's as good as it gets. And Swindle talking about any technique is always educational and entertaining. So I'm looking forward to that one.
Let's see here. Ryan wants to know, hey, Mark, will you ask Ken Duke's opinion on the crippled shad? Here, let me throw this up here. Can you see that, Ken?
I wonder if he means the Renoski crippled shad. It's a lure. It's kind of a funky lure. I didn't even know it was still being made necessarily, but it's a kind of a minnow imitation. Some guys use it almost like do you remember the old front runner? I know guys use it almost like a front runner, which was designed and built by my friend Doyle Hodgin. It's also a bait that, if it's the bait I'm thinking of, and I got to say I don't own any personally, it's a very light. I think the longest one might be about 3 inches long. Looks like a shad, of course. It's got a curved, almost a spoon-shaped body. I can't remember if they float or if they sink and flutter. If they float, they kind of slash through the water a little bit.
Yeah.
It's a pretty solid. I would think it's a pretty solid imitator during the shad spawn. I would think it'd be a pretty good bait for that.
Here he goes. Renoski.
Renoski.
All right.
Yeah, Renoski's been making baits for a long time. I don't know what their status is right now. They made a lot of the early soft plastic swim baits. I say early, 70s, 80s paddle tail type baits. They made a lot of those.
Yeah. Sassy shad. Remember that?
Oh, yeah, the Mr. Twister Sassy shad.
Yeah.
That was made beginning back in the 60s.
The original swim bait, plastic swim bait.
Yeah, you could argue that. I'm going to maintain that the original hard swim bait was the 1911 K&K animated minnow, Mark.
Okay. Well, you would know. I just always thought it was a sassy shad.
Sassy shad was, it was small. I think the original one was only 2 or 3 inches, but that's an early soft plastic paddle tail type swim bait.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, Ken. Ken might be joining us tonight, folks. We'll see if he's able to jump in there, at least maybe for the G-Man, and then we'll see if he can join us. I know it's kind of last minute, but Ken, you are welcome to jump in there if you can.
I'm going to try to make it, Mark. I'm looking forward to it. I love buzzbait fishing, and the G-Man can definitely teach us all a thing or two about that.
Yeah. All right. Great stuff. I want to thank Bobby Lane and Mike McClelland for making a great show today. Really, really good stuff. If you missed Bobby Lane's interview, make sure you go back and check the replay. Finally, folks, please leave us a rating, leave us a review. If you're listening to us on iTunes, it helps us out immensely. We are really creeping close to the 10,000 subscriber mark on YouTube. We haven't been doing the YouTube thing that long, so we will have a serious BTL party when we get to the 10,000 number on subscribers for BTL. So help us out there. And Frank tomorrow, Frank Scalish, day 4. Looking forward to that. Get your questions ready for Frank. We'll see what Frank has in store on day 4. All right, Ken, great job as usual. Want to thank you again for pinch hitting for Matt and all those guys out there, Matt, Bradley, everybody else that's fishing the open, especially Matt and Bradley. Want to wish them well. The fish are biting. I did speak to Matt and had a great practice. So did Brad. So hopefully we will see them on top of the leaderboard on day 1 tomorrow. That's it, Ken. Great job, man.
Thanks, Mark. Always enjoy it. Looking forward to swim tonight.
All right. Nighttime BTL, 7 o'clock Central Time tonight. Don't miss that. That's it, folks. We're out of here.